Good morning, dear students. Today I'm going to talk about some of the main concepts in Chapter 1, which basically is a discussion about how marketing creates value through developing customer relationships. So, first, what is value? So, for example, I am recording this video on my cell phone right now. Why did I buy the cell phone? Not just because it enables me to talk to somebody else, but also because I can do so many other things using the cell phone. I can record this video, for example. I can chat with somebody else. I can listen to music, etc. So that is what creating a value means. I will incorporate features or characteristics into a certain product, which will make it more beneficial to the customer. That's what value is about. The other concept that this chapter focuses on is customer relationships. A customer is somebody who buys something from you. So, what is the concept of relationship? And why do we need to build a relationship with a customer? Well, relationship, as we all know, is what it means in regular terms. In real life, it's the same what it means here as well. But the question is, why do we need to build a relationship with the customer? Well, the concept is very simple. If you do not build a relationship with a customer, how will you know what they need, right? And until you know what they need, you cannot provide, you cannot help the customer. If I do not know what the customer needs, then I cannot help the customer. That is what the focus, that is what the very basis of marketing is. If you look at what some of the main points of this chapter is, of what chapter 1 is, the first topic it talks about is what is the concept of marketing and what are some of the factors that influences marketing. So what is marketing? If you look at the American Marketing Association's definition, I will keep it very simple. I will try to explain it in very simple words. It's the concept of marketing is the concept of creating, communicating, and delivering value and exchanges to customers by creating value and to the constituencies that are involved. So, for example, the customers, suppliers, and other, producers, manufacturers, etc., etc. So, anybody who is associated with this, you are creating some value for them. That is what the very heart of marketing is. So how do we create value? That is, that is what I just talked about when I gave you the example of a cell phone. Communicate, well, you might have a great product, but if you cannot communicate to your potential and existing customers, they won't know about your product. So it is very important that you communicate about the value of your product or about the existence of your product. And down the road, we are going to talk about how you can do that, for example, through advertising, through personal selling, public relations, advertising, so on and so forth. Deliver, well, again, if a customer wants to buy something from you, you need to be able to have a system in place that you can get the product to the customer, right? So that is what delivering the value to the customer means. That is what it implies. And finally, through exchanges, right? You will see that is another important concept that is discussed in chapter 1. Exchange takes place between the supplier or the retailer or the manufacturer and the customer. So exchange means, so when you go to the store and buy something, you pay money and then you buy the product. So the retailer or the manufacturer gives you the product or provides you the product, and in return you pay money to them. So that is what the exchange takes place. And of course the other things that it talks about is what are some of the conditions that need to be satisfied for exchange to take place. For example, at least 2 or more parties should be involved. The exchange should be voluntary. There should be something of value to both the parties. Both the parties should be willing to do business with each other, so on and so forth. So So again, the first concept is what is marketing and how do the different constituencies of marketing enable you to participate in that transaction through the process of exchange. The second concept that this chapter focuses on is how marketing discovers and satisfies consumer needs. So what's a need? Let's say you are hungry. That's a need. That's a very basic need that I cannot live without. If I am hungry, I cannot survive, right? If I'm starving, I cannot survive. So that's a very basic need. So how can I solve that problem? Well, I can cook some food. I can go to the restaurant. I can ask my friend to, to make some food for me, or to, whatever might be the case. In other words, the hunger, that's the very basic need. How you satisfy the need is referred to as want. Now, in marketing, in the discipline of marketing, it's a little bit kind of gets dicey, or a little bit kind of in the gray area. What is the difference between need and want? So I don't want to harp too much on it, but I just wanted to make you aware the difference between the two. Need is very basic. Want are the different options that you have for satisfying the need. Let me try to give you another example. You need to get from point A to point B, so which means you need mode of transportation. Let's say, to get home, to get to your work, or to get to school from home. So that's a very basic need. How you can satisfy that need? You can rent a car, you can buy a car, you can hitchhike, you can walk, you can get a ride from your friend, etc., etc. So these are the different solutions you have at your disposal to satisfy that basic need, which is to get from point A to point B, or having some kind of transportation. So I think now you see the difference. How you can, how marketing discovers and satisfies the customer's needs. So sometimes the customer is not really sure what they need. So one of the goals of marketing is to discover what the customer needs. So I'm trying to think of an example. So you want to drive the car, and at the same time you want to listen to music. So how do the car manufacturer addresses this need? Well, you can have a Bluetooth installed in your car, or you can have cellular access or wireless access when you are driving the car, but you still want to be safe while you are listening to music. So that's why you have the option of just turning on the radio, or turning on the music, and you don't have to do anything. The music will go on by itself, and you can still focus on the driving part. Or think of Bluetooth, talking on the Bluetooth, using that technology, talking on the phone while driving. So that's another way of satisfying the customer needs. You need to talk to someone while your hands are still on the steering wheel, right? So that is how you satisfy customer requirements. And another topic that this chapter focuses on is the marketing program and how customer relationships are built. Well, part of that is, when you think about marketing as a whole, there are several factors that are controllable and several factors that are non-controllable. As far as the controllable factors are concerned, I think we are talking about the 4 P's of marketing: the product, price, place, and promotion. As far as the non-marketing, the non-controllable or the external factors are concerned, there are several that you can think of, the technological changes, the economic changes, how the economy is doing, the employment rate, the labor market, the prices of products, political factors, a new government comes into power and then they change the rules. So then you are working on a whole different circumstances. So political, economic, social factors, for example, there are different types of people in the economy. The number of women in the workforce, it is changing. The number of baby boomers, the number of Generation X, number of Generation Y. All these factors, they influence marketing, because these are your customers, your existing or future customers, and they are the ones who are going to buy your product. So you need to know what they want to buy. So that will vary depending on the age, the income, the education level, their ethnicity, so on and so forth. So all these are factors beyond your control. What your competitors are doing, for example, what products your competitors are manufacturing and what prices they are charging, you have no control over that. So these are again external factors, or factors that you do not have control over. The 4 P's of marketing, these are the factors that you typically have control over. So that is what is the marketing program. So taking into account all these different factors, you need to have a strategy or a program in mind so that you can successfully market your product. And of course, you cannot address all your customers at the same time. So so you have to basically select and choose. So that is what also part of your strategies, that is what all your marketing program as well. And you have to think about the fact that it is not just the manufacturer and the customer, but also other stakeholders, right? Who is a stakeholder? A stakeholder is a person or an entity who is influenced by and influences the operation or the sales of that particular product, right? So that is what, those are the stakeholders. So we are talking about the manufacturers, we are talking of the people who deliver the product to your door, we are talking about the suppliers, we are talking about the raw materials supplier, we are talking about the advertisers, customers. I mean, again, everybody, your employees, the company employees, everybody who is influenced by and who influences the profit of your organization, they are the stakeholders. So the marketing program, that should involve the stakeholders as well. So that's what I'm trying to say here. So all of these, the stakeholders, the product that you have, the price that you charge, the way you promote your product, all these entities, they are responsible and they play a role in developing a customer relationship. So you need to develop a long-term relationship with your customers so that you know what the customer needs, and that is how they will keep coming back to your organization for future business. Okay, so that's all I wanted to emphasize on. It's just the introductory chapter, so make sure that you read it carefully and understand the very basic concepts which are discussed here. You know, the concept of exchange, the concept of marketing, the concept of value, the concept of customer relationships, exchanges, so on and so forth. All right, I will see you again in chapter 2. Thank you.